Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It is match day review time, and as you can see, unfortunately, it's just myself this week. Originally wasn't meant to be at the Charlton Athletic Cup tie, was I? So, didn't get hold of an Addicts fan to ask them to come on, and Reese made plans. He's got his parents over in Germany, so he's off enjoying himself, and I hope he's having a good time. So, you'll have to put up with just my dulcet tones for this episode, and it will be, obviously, a lot shorter than usual. What a day in ME7 it was, though, as Stephen Clements masterminded what was definitely the best display of his short tenure so far, as we ran out comfortable 2-0 winners against League One Charlton Athletic. Before we get into the team news and the timeline of the game, I always write a paragraph down to try and sum up the game, and I've written down that I thought Charlton had a short spell at the start of each period. We quickly nullified that threat. And we were the better side. We had more territory, more possession, more shots on target. We scored 2 good goals. We could have got more. They've had one chance, haven't they, which fell to master marksman Alfie May after about 10 minutes. It was a really good short corner routine, to be fair, but Jake Turner made a big save with his leg and we managed to clear. Aside from that, they offered absolutely nothing. And we, deservedly, got ourselves into the hat for the next round. Go back to 2 p.m. when team news was announced. There were 4 changes that Clements made from Tuesday's hard-working, attritional 1-0 league victory over AFC Wimbledon. Robbie McKenzie, Johnny Williams, George Lapsley and Macaulay Bonne were all reinstated into the 11 at the expense of Shea Alexander, Dom Jeffries, Connor Mahoney, who missed out completely with a knock, and Tom Nichols, who dropped to the bench. So the team in full for Gills was Jake Turner in goal, a back 4 of McKenzie, Aymer, Masterson and Malone, Ethan Coleman, the anchor in front, protecting. It was then a quartet of Clark, Lapsley, Dieng and Williams, with Bonne leading the line. And there was a return to the bench for Ollie Hawkins after a huge injury problem. So fingers crossed we get to see him on the pitch sooner rather than later. And for our opponents, plenty of good players that have played well in the league. I think they were 7 unbeaten coming into this cup tie. So again, that shows what a good performance it was from Gills. It also shows what a poor performance it was from the visitors. But their team in full was Maynard Brewer in goal, a back 4 of Aslimiwe, I think, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, Ness, Jones, Eden. It was then Dobson and Watson anchor in the midfield as a pair. They had Campbell and Blackett Taylor from the sides, and it was May and Tedic operating in tandem in quite a fluid front pair. So plenty of threats, plenty of good players that we had to keep an eye on. And certainly, looking at the lineups, it was a game that I thought was going to be a lot tougher than it ended up being. If we look at the first 45 minutes as a whole, rather than just go through each individual thing, I think it's fair to say that Charlton were well below par, but you've got to give us credit for making them be well below par. We pressed really well. We let them have the ball edge of their box or on the halfway line and said, right, you can pass it, you can go side to side, you can go backwards. But as soon as you try and play through us, we're going to go and hunt down the ball in packs, in pairs. And we did that really, really well. We've already mentioned at the top of the show the chance for Alfie May from the corner. That was literally it for the Charlton side in the whole of the 45 minutes. And probably in the whole of the game, to be fair. They were really, really off colour for one reason or another. But you have to give us credit. We played the better football. We played the slicker football. We were braver in possession. We were solid out of possession. We created some good bits. I think it was as early as about the 3rd or 4th minute that Jaden Clark cut in from the right-hand side and got himself half a yard. His shot was blocked. Not sure whether it was on target from my seat. Top tier of the Medway stand, which was a bit different, but was really good fun. Myself and Ava both really enjoyed that. So that was the first opportunity. Yeah, and then we played some good stuff. We were zippy, like I say, and it was signs of what Stephen Clements wants to implement. And I know we sat here a week ago, myself and Reese, and were really disappointed after that Tranmere debacle, if that's a bit strong, maybe, but it wasn't good enough. But we've reacted really well. Hard-fought win in the week and a clean sheet, and Saturday was right up there as a performance. Certainly a team performance. Everybody was absolutely spot on from first whistle to last. So yeah, there was that chance, and then the goal came after 26 minutes, and it's a really good goal. It's a little bit more direct, but there's 2 things that are really good in that. Johnny Williams is brave enough to get himself on the ball, and then he's able to pick a pass, clips it in behind, turns Charlton round. No defender wants to be playing with facing their own goal. Jayden Clark then bends his run to stay onside and gets there in front of Ashley Maynard-Brewer, and you think, right, he can either try and go round him and then he might have to shoot left-footed, weaker foot, off balance, but no, has the wherewithal to get his head up and realise that Maynard-Brewer's out of position, steadies himself and squares it for Macaulay Bonne. And I know there's a bit of a deflection, but it's a good hit from Bonne, left-footed, weaker foot, and he gets it in off the far post and obviously goes towards those Charlton fans who were giving him absolute dog's abuse as he came out to warm up, as he came out before the game. So he cupped his ear to the fans that formerly chanted his name, is what I'm trying to say. And it was a deserved lead. And what was great for us was that one quickly became two. And again, it goes back to that pressing and hunting in pairs. And it's Lapsley and Coleman that chase down the ball in the middle of the park. I think it's Dobson that's got it. And Ethan Coleman gets a toe on it, manages to pinch it. And from there, George Lapsley takes over. It's quick feet, gets his head up. And he knows that Timmy Dieng needs the ball early to be onside. Slides him in. I said at the time on the Matchday Live that I thought Timmy had a touch. I've done him a real disservice. It's a great first time hit across Maynard-Brewer into the corner. And there was a lot in that celebration. It's been a tough couple of months for Timmy, hasn't it? Missing out through injury after picking up that knee problem at Grimsby at the start of September. And it's great to have him back. And it was a really good goal. Well deserved for his performance. Well deserved for our performance. He had another chance, didn't he? Free kick towards the end of that first half that drifted just wide. Again, I'm not sure how close it was from my seat, but looking at the highlights, it weren't too far away. And again, everything I've said, high intensity, pressed together. Goal 2 is a prime example of that. Quick, incisive, brave. Just a really, really good performance and a really good display to watch. Second 45 followed a similar pattern. Charlton came out and for 2 or 3 minutes. They looked like they was going to make a game of it, but that quickly got nullified. And again, that was credit to us. Then it was us on the front foot again, wasn't it? Like we've already mentioned, Jake Turner's not made a save second half. So if you look at the whole game, that save from his with his legs came in 10th minute. It was at 80 minutes of just coming, claiming crosses, punching crosses, cleaning up, sweeping him in behind his back four, which he did really, really well, Jake. He's had a good season. We know that. There's been a couple of goals recently that he's probably a bit disappointed with, but he was super solid throughout the game yesterday, and everything that he needed to do, he did really well. And then we had more chances, didn't we? Scott Malone corner that Timmy Dieng got to, similar to against Salford when it headed against the bar. This one just drifted over and sort of clipped the top of the net on its way out. Jayden Clark again, I think he got played in by Macaulay Bonne and dropped his shoulder, got it onto his right foot. It's a fierce hit, probably going under the crossbar, but Maynard-Brewer manages to fling up a hand to keep it out. They just kept coming, the chances, didn't they? George Lapsley blazed over, should have hit the target. There was also a great ball in, wasn't there, from Sean Williams for one Macaulay Bonne chance. And I think that was his second chance of the half, Macaulay, because the first one, I think, where was the central defender tries to head it back to his keeper, gets it horrendously wrong, and that summed up the Charlton performance for me. Macaulay Bonne gets there. Can he go round him? Can he lift it over him? He tries to lift it over Maynard-Brewer, gets a hand up, and I think the defender then gets back to cover and clear it off the line. And then the second chance is a really good ball from Sean Williams, that sort of flat, zippy one with the laces. And Macaulay has a great first touch, and it looks like he's just trying to get it out of his feet, but the defender gets back in to get a touch out for a corner. I think there was half calls for a penalty, but I couldn't see from my seat. I was at the wrong end of the pitch, so no comment from myself. It would have been nice to see Macca get another one or two, but he had a good day's work, didn't he? And we saw the game out without any alarm at all, really. It was quite odd to see us against a side that's doing all right in the division above be that comfortable. And again, you've got to give credit and kudos to Stephen Clements, Robbie Stockdale, the rest of the coaching staff, and also, of course, the players who executed the game plan to an absolute T. And again, I've written comfortable, deserved, we was in the hat, like I say, for the third round, which is always good because that's where the big boys come in from the Premier League and the Championship, and you always want to try and pick up a plum draw. I think the only negatives for me in the entire afternoon were the two injuries. Ethan Coleman, I thought, was absolutely running the game until he had to go off with what looked like a hamstring strain tweak. We're not sure yet. Obviously, we'll have to wait till press conferences in the week to find out for sure. But fingers crossed Ethan's got to it early enough and we've got him off quickly to minimise the damage, because he's not a player that I'd like us to be missing for too long. But I'd imagine even if it is just a strain, you're looking at a week or two. But fingers crossed for a swift recovery for Ethan. And then, of course, we lost Johnny Williams as well. Took a smack in the mouth. I'm not sure how the player didn't get booked, to be fair. I know Alfie May got booked for dissent. I'm not sure what he was complaining about either, but I thought the player that committed the foul should have been cautioned. I didn't think it was a great challenge. It seems that there's no lasting damage to Johnny, and it was just the fact that they couldn't stop the wound on his mouth from bleeding. And he's put a picture on social media of a big fat lip. Looks like he's had Botox at some backstreet surgery, bless him. But good to know that Johnny's not too bad, and hopefully we'll have him available for Barrow next week. But with these negatives comes positives, and the positives are that we've got people back from injury now, haven't we? In recent weeks, we've seen Ashley Nadesan come back. We've got Timmy Dieng back. Ollie Hawkins was on the bench for the Charlton game. So you can bring people on and rest and rotate for different competitions, and you're not diminishing the quality of the 11 at all. If you look at the players that came on for Coleman and Williams, it was Dom Jeffries, who's been really good this season on the whole, and Sean Williams, who's been out the side for a month and hasn't played a lot. And I thought both were first class. Dom had to play two positions, didn't he? It was a straight swap for Ethan Coleman initially, and then when Johnny went off, he had to move to the left-hand side of midfield to accommodate Sean in the middle. And I thought both were absolutely brilliant in the sort of 45 to 60 minutes that they got respectively. You then look at Robbie McKenzie, George Lapsley, Johnny Williams while he was on, and Macaulay Bonne all played a huge part in winning us the game at both ends of the pitch. Clean sheets, hard work in the middle of the park, and a goal threat. Tom Nichols, Ashley Nadesan, Che Alexander all came on to help us see it out, and the likes of Glenn Morris and Shad Ogie and Max Clark and Ollie Hawkins didn't even get on. Connor Mahoney missed out. So for me, you're looking at, like I've already said, a season's best performance. A Stephen Clement best performance so far. But he's probably top 3, top 5 in terms of the whole season. You go back to the Southampton game in August where we were free-flowing and played with confidence and freedom, and it was similar against Charlton. And it sets a bar, doesn't it? These are the standards that we want to hit now. And I know it's slightly different in league and cup football. I think you get more time and more space against your Charltons and your Southamptons and your Lutons rather than your Morecambs, your Harrogates, those types of teams. I think it's a different mentality as well. And we've had this chat a few times with Jack and Reese on Gills in the pub. It's a different mindset, isn't it? League games to cup football. But it's something that we know that the players have got in the locker. And like I say, with Connor Mahoney missing, who's got, 9 goal contributions, I think, this season, four goals himself and 5 assists. It's got to give the players confidence and the coaching staff confidence that when someone is missing of that calibre, we've got others that can step in and have an effect positively on games in an attacking sense. And we had that yesterday because Johnny Williams and Jaden Clark are both involved in the opener. George Lapsley's been a bit in and out of the side, and Tim Dieng's missed lots of football because of an injury. They're involved in the second, which ultimately clinches the victory. So many positives, and a real sign that we've got a bit of squad depth now, which is full of good players as well. It's not just free agents or, basement bargain barrel stuff that's just come in to pad out numbers. So yeah, really, really good day. Different seat for us, like I say, we was high up, vantage point was a really different angle, and it was great to watch the game from that perspective. But of course, we all want to win football matches, and that's what we did, and we did it really well. Kudos to Max Emer again. It's no coincidence for me that he's come back into the side in the last 2 games, and we've kept back-to-back clean sheets. Really, really good again yesterday. So yeah, draw was made earlier this afternoon, and myself and Ava did record ourselves watching the draw. So this is who we've got. Oh, that's recording. What turns you're watching? It's Gills. Who do we want? Chelsea? I'd love Chelsea. Still Brentford there. 34. Sheffield United, that's all right. That's Premier League. And I think they're bottom.
They're bottom, so we
could
might
beat them.
get a winnable.
Decent draw for the Gills at home against a Premier League side. One that is potentially winnable.
Up the Gills!
Up the Gills. I think Ava said she wanted Tottenham away or at home, or Manchester United away or at home. For me, Premier League team is always the dream, isn't it? When you're a lower league football club following a team like Gillingham, you want to go and test yourselves. And we've been blessed in last few seasons. Cardiff in 2019, we saw off in the third round of the FA Cup at Priestfield. And I think this game against Sheffield United at home's got all the makings of being a similar type of tie. They're at the bottom of the league. They got absolutely slapped at the weekend, didn't they, by Burnley, who are a direct rival to stay up, which is never a good sign. So yeah, if you look at Premier League team at home and winnable, I think it's a decent draw. Chance for TV coverage perhaps as well, because they're going to be sniffing an upset. So yeah, quite happy with that draw. Obviously would have loved a huge one, you know, City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, that type of thing. But there's only 20 Premier League teams that come into this competition and we've managed to get one of them. So I'm more than happy with our third round tie. Ava was pleased as well. And I think we'll be back in the Rainham end for that one. Right, that is enough from me for this week's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I say, it's a bit different and it's never as good when it's just one voice. It's great when we have Reece to give his opinion and an opposition fan as well, but such was the last minute nature of this one this week. You've had to put up with me. So if you've got this far, as I always say, thank you very much. Please keep doing all that you do, liking, sharing, reposting, commenting, interacting. It's a big ask, but can we get to 3,000 subscribers before Christmas? I think we need about 175. So there's your challenge. If we do it, there's definitely going to be a prize draw for someone. So thank you very much. We will be back midweek to preview Barrow. We're not travelling up for that one, unfortunately. Christmas is getting a little bit close. Trying to sort out another Gills in the Blood chats too. So hopefully if we can get that penciled in, we might be able to get that up before the festive period. And then hopefully back next week to speak to Reece again and reflect on hopefully what's a good performance up north as we look to bring Saturday's performance into more consistent performances in the league. Hope you've had a good weekend. We've had a good cup draw. We've had a good cup result. Up the Gills.